asked regarding a conversation that he and I had prior to me entering office as Minister ECYS, and in the case of Prince William Alexander School, if there were any new discoveries or information. He stated things are happening now that he did not expect, someone being taken out of their function pending investigation. So he asked me to provide some clarity on that. I thank the MP for his question, Madam Chair Lady, and for giving me the opportunity to clarify this matter. Regarding the case at Prince William Alexander School, I can confirm that since the conversation we had prior to my assumption of office as Minister of ECYS, I am now able to actually retrieve the necessary information to address this matter. MP York stated that he doesn't agree with the approach that I'm taking, and that is surely his prerogative to have a different opinion. Many, in and outside of this hall, will not like some of the decisions I make while occupying this seat, but I am not here to try to please everyone. I'm here to make decisions that will afford children, young people, and students opportunities to grow and flourish in safe, nurturing, and dynamic environments. The decision to temporarily remove an individual from their function is not and was not taken lightly. It is a procedural step to facilitate an impartial investigation, safeguard the integrity of the process, and protect all parties involved. This action should not be interpreted as a presumption of guilt. The investigation will be conducted with due diligence, and we are committed to upholding the principles of fairness and justice.
I want to be clear that, and say all of this with my chest. So whether it's tints, it's reckless scooters, or any other public safety issue, that my commitment to law enforcement and to enforcement in general is across the board. So they're not minor inconveniences, they're fundamental challenges that affect safety, order, and well-being of our entire island nation. Excessive tint, reckless scooters are just examples of a broader issue in this country, and that's the need to enforce all laws consistently and fairly. These laws were put in place to protect the people of St. Martin, and when they are ignored and they're selectively enforced, it erodes public trust and it weakens the foundation of our society. It also weakens our credibility as a government, because we sit here as a parliament and as an executive branch within government, and we draft laws and then we ourselves don't enforce them, and we ourselves don't live up to them. So whether it's from road safety to public order, we need to go back to the basics. Every law must be respected, and every citizen must know that accountability exists in this country and that it applies equally to everybody. Whether it's a driver, a business owner, or even the government itself, because the adherence to laws should not be something that is optional. So this goes, again, beyond traffic issues, and it's about restoring a culture of lawfulness, because a lot of times in St. Martin there's too much lawlessness. So again, I don't think that rules are mere suggestions, but there's standards that we all have to collectively uphold. From ensuring transparency in government processes to addressing crimes, big and small, the message is the same. The laws of this country must be enforced. And I intend to stand 100% behind our police force, our public prosecutor's office, and the entire justice chain to ensure that everything in this country is enforced across the board. So if the MP felt like I wasn't, passionate enough about scooters, my passion is there. It's there for everything to do with justice.
Case where a building was seized at the cruise port where thousands of dollars in rent was supposed to be collected from this building. The asset building was supposed to be transferred to government. Was this transferred? MP requests an update on this. Is this rent being collected? Is this reflected in the budget? If the building has not been transferred, will both of these actions be taken up or done in the first quarter 2025? This has not yet been finalized, MP, through you, Madam Chair, and the intention is to have this completed in the first quarter of 2025. Moving on to the questions of MP Darrell T.J. York. Construction in Simpson Bay Lagoon. The question posed by the MP before was, has there been any construction in the Simpson Bay Lagoon in the last 6 months? Yes, no, illegally or legally. And the MP went along to also show a picture of one particular project in particular, and then the answer that therefore relates to this one. There has been construction of a new pier in the area of Skyport, as indicated by the Minister. The MP showcased a photo taken on 19 September 2024. Was the Minister aware? Skyport submitted a building permit request for a new dock. The building permit was reviewed and registered in 2022, with the number following 181/2022. The Permits Department indicated that handling this permit request has not yet started. Legally, government has to respond to all submitted queries, requests, and letters within 6 to 8 weeks. Through you, Madam Chair, I was not aware of the construction and wait the report from the Inspection Department. I mentioned this to highlight the challenges of government to not only enforce, but also live up to its own regulations, and speaks to the need to build capacity and digitize. In the last 6 months pertaining to the emergency manual sewage pumping of the Lower Princess Quarter area, the MP asked, why didn't the minister look into the repairing of the sewage truck owned by the government? Fixing the truck would have been cheaper than having contractors transporting the sewage. Did the minister look into it, and why did he not look into the option of repairing the truck owned by government? The decision to contract a third party to pump sewage had to do with capacity. The amount of sewage pumped on a daily basis surpasses what would be done by a single truck. The government has one truck. That, unfortunately, is not working. Since taking office, an advice to have all heavy equipment fixed has come to my desk. We have already repaired our crane and will be looking to implement a service level agreement SLA to improve overall maintenance.
Debt cancellation and monetary compensation, what is the timeline in this action? For the coming year, what are the steps to be taken for reparation and how will this be done? As I mentioned in the first round, I am a firm believer that reparation must come. There cannot be a vision for nation building without having reparation. I highlighted 4 aspects related to this topic. It's about the debt cancellation, the monetary compensation, joining the international movement on this topic, and awaiting the recommendation from the AXAR, the Advisory Committee on Slavery, Atonement, and Reparation. All these aspects will be taken into consideration, for which a plan of approach will be devised, outlining the necessary objective steps, action points, and implementation thereof. The timeline is as follows. First of all, there must be a consensus in the coalition. There should be a consensus in the COM. There should be a consensus for the people of this country. And after that, this all has to turn out into a plan of approach. At the end of the day, the possibility of, I think personally, a roundtable conference in the kingdom should also be considered as a way moving forward on the topic of reparation. Question 2, contract or anything for 75 million guilders for GEBE. I cannot imagine that a loan of this magnitude has not a paper trail. Can you please elucidate on this? There is, to start with, MP, no contract. A bond terms to be issued by the Minister of Finance through the central bank. That's the first step. The agreement is a debt issuance agreement signed by the Minister of Finance and sent to the central bank. The central bank then issues the bond, and the result of the bond is communicated by the central bank to the Minister of Finance back. It is the prerogative of the Netherlands whether or not they respond to the bond issuance.
Asset V insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? Asset V is cardless. Request your My Asset V account today and enter the virtual office of Asset V. Go to assetv.sx and sign up now.
Asset V, yeah. Your social health insurances.
Firstly, can the ministry provide an increased budget requested in the amendment without actually amending the budget post mentioned by the MP? Was there ever an official request from Parliament for the amendment to their budget? Madam Chair, through you, the increase as stated in the amendment proposed by MP La Cruz can be included without the proposed cuts due to the budget amendment note, which was submitted to Parliament. To answer MP's second question, no, there was never an official request. I move to questions by MP York. This question could have been answered by the PM, myself, or the Minister of TIAT. The MP spoke to the Minister of Finance about succession land, and the intent was expressed to incorporate this in the Mortgage Guarantee Fund. The MP requests to keep the idea of incorporating succession land in mind as well. This was also to be presented to the Minister by the VROMI Parliament Committee. Through you, Madam Chair, in addressing this issue of succession land, I have proposed the removal of the inheritance tax as a potential solution to this matter. I now move on to questions by MP Arian, who asks about the National Development Bank and specifically about UPNA in transferring cash over to St. Martin. Were the funds transferred? Are these funds in the budget, or was it done in 2024? And through you, Madam Chair, yes, we did receive the funds from UPNA in 2024, and these were included in the 2024 budget. In reference to Soul Beach, which line item was used by the Ministry of Finance for Soul Beach? Through you, Madam Chair, the economic category used in the Ministry of Finance is material costs. All remaining questions with regard to Soul Beach will be answered by the Minister of TIAT. In reference to the question on casinos being current and the backlog being up to date, all but 2 casinos are current. I move on to questions by MP Duran. Question concerning the 10 days to secure much-needed funds to purchase Mullet Bay. Madam Chair, as I previously stated, I'm already strategizing the approach for securing the necessary funds for purchasing Mullet Bay. Achieving this requires a carefully crafted and deliberate strategy. It is impractical to expect these funds to be secured within 10 days, as suggested by the Honourable Member of Parliament. Proper planning and execution are essential to ensuring these funds are responsibly safeguarded and utilized. That is why, through you, Madam Chair, I wish to reaffirm that I have already begun exploring avenues for the government to responsibly secure these funds. By doing so, we are positioning ourselves to act decisively and effectively when the time comes, ensuring that we are fully prepared to meet the 10-day timeline when it becomes necessary. Did the government attempt to extend this 10-day time frame? If not, why not? The original time frame was actually less than the 10 days, but we successfully managed to extend it to 10 days. However, Madam Chair, the focus should not solely be on the 10 days or the 10-day period. If we wait until then to act, we will never be able to secure the necessary funds. That is why, Madam Chair, I have explained that we are already actively strategizing on the best approach to secure Mullet Bay. Our efforts are focused on ensuring that we are prepared and positioned to act responsibly and effectively within the given time frame. What are the revenue-generating avenues being explored for the purchase? We are currently exploring avenues mainly focusing on entering into a public-private partnership. Determine a fair market value through an independent appraiser. Don't you believe this is a more feasible option? As I have previously stated, we are actively strategizing on the best approach for this matter. A key step within this strategy is to have the property appraised by an independent appraiser. This will allow us to determine a fair market value and establish the maximum price the government is willing to consider for the purchase of Mullet Bay. This ensures that we act responsibly and in the best interest of the people of St. Martin. I now move on to questions by MP Sarah Westcott Williams. Could you please provide a synopsis on the 3 notes of amendments? Through you, Madam Chair, the government indeed submitted 3 notes of amendments. 1, the first note of amendment is that the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports has indicated that the draft budget for 2025 as currently proposed reflects a planning process that requires a reallocation of financial resources. In the already approved budget amendment for 2024, significant cuts were made to material and personnel expenditures. These cuts have resulted in various departments and services within the ministry being unable to achieve the necessary staff reinforcements essential for implementing policy actions. Failing to fill such critical positions could have significant negative consequences for the achieving of the ministry's objectives. Therefore, it is proposed to implement budget-neutral reallocation of financial resources to reduce the existing staff shortages. The second note of amendment serves for the following ministries and matters. Ministry of General Affairs to secure the SPARE project, Ministry of ROMI to adjust the title Budget Expenditure 2024 in the Catalan Book of the National Ordinance, Budget 2025, in the Budget Expenditure 2025. Ministry of Finance to adjust the expenditures amongst others by reducing the interest costs. The interest costs are reduced as these costs in the agreement for the CAPEX loans are lower than budgeted, to increase the income side based on the increase of dividend revenues from the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin. The increase in this income is based on the 2025 budget of the Central Bank that was received by the Ministry of Finance on December 5th, 2024. To adjust the title Budgeted Receipts 2024 that was erroneously included in the overview of granted concessions. This has been corrected in Budgeted Receipts 2025. I would like to thank MP De Weaver for her observations for this matter and the amendment I previously indicated at the part of VROMI. Ministry of ECYS to increase the expenditure on the items hiring of third parties and travel expenses will be increased. Ministry of TIAT to adjust the capital service expenditures 2025 for the furniture and equipment for new building and for furnishings and equipment. The budgeted expenditures were mistakenly reversed. The third note of amendment serves to have additional funds for the Ministry of Justice to employ 6 critical vacancies at the Ministry of Justice, hire the head of the Department of Judicial Affairs to facilitate the basic education of CAPSM for 7 individuals that by law supposed to follow this education, and hire 6 employees for the Foreign Detention Center.
SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your MySXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country, we will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. All all illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country.